Hello, welcome everyone back to another episode of Energy Unleashed with Suzanne and Kim. Hey, Kim, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, actually, we just chatted very briefly before this one, and we decided that the actual topic is going to be, we're both feeling a little bit off, and are a lot of my clients as well. And I'm getting a lot of, I just don't feel right, or my body's just not doing it right, or a lot of those kinds of kind of obscure comments of, I don't know what it is, I don't know what to look for anymore. And we're not going to, throw you under the bus, but you were not feeling so great all night either, and still aren't. And so, yeah, I mean, things are not working the same in our human bodies right now. And I just wanted to kind of make a short video of this so that people that are struggling out there right now don't necessarily think that they're dying if the doctor literally is saying, I can't find anything wrong with you.
Yeah.
And you pretty much have that inner feeling of nothing's like killing me at this moment, but you still feel like shit. And I think it's really important that we call it out.
Yeah, I have had, well, since like early February, this ear thing, like earache that
Hmm.
comes and goes, and it's not
Yep.
all the time. And so I went to the doctor a week ago, no, 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, and they looked at my ears and they're like, your ears look great. Like, I don't understand why you're having pain like that in your ear. Like, even sound would bother my ear.
Yeah.
Down into my, down, into my jaw
And
and like
teeth.
the teeth back here.
Yep.
And so I'm in there, I'm like, really? How can like, so well, but you know what? We'll give you an antibiotic and some prednisone and go home and hopefully you'll feel better within 72 hours. And
Yeah.
it didn't work. And I am not ready to go back yet. I'm going to go to the dentist now and see if there's something bizarre going in there. But it's like I know exactly what you're talking about. Like you don't know what's wrong with you. I wasn't even sure what kind of doctor to go to because it was in such an area that
Right.
it could be three different types of doctors.
Right. And I think that's why I want to call this one out and unleash it a little bit in that people just do this quote around the word off. I just feel off.
Yep.
And it's really hard to determine where to go for some even clarification and or assistance. Like you said, do I go to the dentist? Do I go to an ENT? Do
Mhm.
I go to a normal doctor? Do I go get a healing? Do I do all of the above or none of the above? It's really difficult because we are literally going through something that the human body hasn't done before. And I
Mhm.
wanted to touch base with some of the crap that I'm hearing and or your experience and am I, and then kind of dovetail it into ascension symptoms because a lot of this stuff can sometimes be really generated because of that. So yeah, I too, we were comparing notes. I have been struggling for quite some time with joint stuff and we've been talking about watching sugars, and I have a friend who calls herself fluffy when she's off. She said, I just feel big and fluffy. And I actually feel like I said the other day, an aloe vera plant where it's squishy.
Yeah.
That's inflammation to me. So I'm starting to finally understand, oh, if I've eaten something off or drank something off or too much sugar or too much partying or too much gluten or whatever, I feel I'm starting, you do this a lot. And
A
so now
lot.
I'm starting to go, oh, I
Mhm.
know why Kim does this because you can feel your joints. And this isn't typical our age arthritic joints as much as it's aloe vera mush joint. You know
Aloe
what an
vera.
aloe vera plant feels like, right? I mean, it's like squish,
Yeah.
squish, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I never really realized that that was that. Oh, that's inflammation. So I think our bodies are becoming more inflamed than ever because of so many things. And I think because we are changing so much, our bodies are much more susceptible to becoming inflamed. So I think it's a cycle that we're all kind of navigating. It's
Well, and
different.
it's a really great point in that there are definitely certain foods and things that totally trigger me. Like if I have soy in something, I'm definitely fluffy. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not fluffy, it's heavy,
Yeah.
heavy, painful,
Yeah.
inflammation.
And
Uh,
it's weird because I never, and I've known you for so long when you do this check-in. And then I found myself the other day going, I feel like I got big mucky gloves on. And I'm like, oh, that's what
I
Kim
always do
does.
that.
So,
Oh God, I shouldn't have eaten that yesterday. I can feel
yeah,
it,
yeah. And it really sucks because a lot of the things that I find myself now doing, oh, that's what she's talking about, is things that I really like. Like, I love, well, we both love Chardonnay wine, and that's very sugary for me now. I haven't had a sip of wine for probably well over a week, not even a sip. And, once I make up my mind, I just stop and I do feel a difference, sadly. Doesn't mean I'm never not going to have a glass of wine again, but I am watching that. And it is interesting. I didn't know the soy thing. That's an interesting comment because I did eat
Yeah.
egg rolls the other night with a bunch of, soy and probably sugary dip. And I'm really lame. I'm just going to call myself out here. I'm lame with knowing what's not really a great carb for me and not. I have some homework to do on that stuff
Mm,
because I'll eat it and then I'm like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, and I think part of it, I would say at our ages, digestion definitely changes because I think your
oh
digestion
my
slows
God.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so things like pizza, because of the dough, like the
yeah.
toppings don't bother me as much as the actual bread
And
dough.
sadly, I love bread.
Oh God, and I love pasta and I love, all those things, and those are the harder things for me
Yeah,
to have. So,
yeah. It's very difficult when people are just saying I'm off because like I said, I've been doing more joint things and mine goes back to some other stuff that we can either pull in or not later. But I was at PT this morning and I have done PT what almost 6 times in a row weekly now. And I was so frustrated 3 weeks ago going, this is bullshit. It's not even working. Nothing feels better. In fact, it feels worse. And my girl was getting more and more frustrated. So we brought in the boss today and we were all doing it all together and finding out that I'm really jacked up in my lower back. And she's like, you're such a hard case because you have so many things going on. And again, there's those quotes. And it's like, Jesus, I'm just falling. What am I falling to pieces, And literally, I think this is something that we really want to call out. And I'm always willing to throw my own self under the bus because I don't care. I'm human just as much as anybody else. And just because I do healing work and I work on myself constantly and consistently doesn't mean I'm not a human meat and bone evolution right now. And I think I might even be worse because I am a prototype in a lot of ways. I do all the merging with everybody's bodies. I do 100% physically morph and change into things that aren't me. So it's twice as hard for me to find my own body resonance and go, oh, yeah, you're not holding on to this, that, or the other thing. So I do work extensively hard on clearing and keeping myself clean, but it doesn't always work. And more so, it's not that I'm empathing the clients as much as it's a collective empath for me. It's that.
yeah,
I was just telling Kim I got a new app for solar flares and auric things in the cosmos to see what's going on out there so that I can go, holy shit, that just kicked my butt. Because it does, it kills
yeah.
me. So if you're one of those people, maybe get more information. Kim, you do the Schumann more. It's funny because you do the Schumann and I do the solar. So we can check. You just said Schumann was at 50 something, right?
57. Yeah. So it can go higher definitely, but it's usually 7.8 hertz
Yeah.
if there
Well, it used to be. I don't even know if it
it hasn't been down there for a while.
yeah. So when those resonances are off or those flares are coming or that, electrical magnetic frequency is not imbalanced, our body is also taking a hit. So I really want to help people understand that this is going to do things like, fatigue. Ascension symptoms are very, very that you can look even on my own website. It has a whole ton of information and blogs on it, but there's a lot of Googling places that you can do now. But this really does obviously hit up our stress levels. This hits up our fatigue, our muscle tension, our heads a lot, especially if you're the electric solar flare person. Really jacks up your digestion. Like you said, it really messes up your sleep patterns. And now we're going to throw in things like the pink moon. We just went through the pink moon. And I love that we have every color and every kind of moon these days. The new names are cracking me up. But we were up at the cabin looking at the pink moon and the other planet that's right next to it and the twin stars and this, that, and the other. So we're taking a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. Yeah. The moon definitely affects me a lot well, and the new moon does too, but depending on the moon, it's not every time there's a moon, but symptoms can be worse with certain moons.
Yes.
This weekend, my sleep was really off with
Yeah.
this moon. And
Yep.
it's, waking up at 1 in the morning thinking you've already slept a whole night. It's like,
Right.
what's going on?
Right.
But
And
yeah,
you
it's a
feel
full
like
moon.
you got hit by a Mack truck and you've only been down for 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
One of the things that I have a tendency to not remember, and you're so good at, is hydration. And
Mhm.
when you do this check, you're funny because you're always like, I need water. I mean, I've known you long enough to watch you, and you do this, and then you go grab a water, and it makes me
I don't
giggle.
even know I do it. It's so
Yeah,
funny.
but it's really great. And, we also talk a lot about how we struggle with nutrients, supplements, all of those things are changing. And I would like to just bring this forward for people to understand if you're the person that's really struggling, like say, oh, magnesium has always helped me in the past and now it doesn't do crap for me. That's really common for a lot of us. A lot of us are finding out when we're in this transmutation or transition process of ascension, we are finding that a lot of this stuff just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And it's really
Yeah.
important to understand that, right?
Yeah, and I'm finding it's harder to hydrate. So I've been doing LMNT is that salt,
Oh,
rehydration kind of packets. I've been doing those for a while, but I just switched to a different brand and trying it, and I can feel a difference in that it's not quite right. So I think I'm
yep.
going to go back. But those help me because I feel like, I did a class on cellular structure, how it
Yep.
works and all of that. And I can tell when I'm, definitely starting to get um, just puffy and all the things that I'm not hydrated like I
Yeah.
should. And then my
Yeah.
digestion is off and like just all of the things that I figured out along the way that trigger me.
Yeah, you're much better at that than I. I don't feel the effects of the dehydration as quickly as you do or as much as you do.
Mhm.
That one I can, like, that's the hindsight for me. It's like, oh, I haven't drank water in 2 days.
Oh my gosh. I'd be going,
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but I find that a lot of the ascension symptoms, like the ringing of the ears, is really affecting a lot of my clients. A lot of clients are having, I have a niece who's really having trouble also with ear ringing. I mean, for a long time too, and she's done everything under the sun. And again, it's frustrating being a human going through the so-called medical systems and trying to figure it out, and then jumping into the metaphysical and still trying to figure it out, and nothing's working. And we're talking about it because I don't want you to lose hope or the tenacity to keep trying something or mix it up or look at different things because there isn't a normal anymore. They're looking at her ear ringing that's been like months and months and months, by the way, constant, and a little bit of vertigo to boot. And I mean, I've even looked into it and I can't find something in her, which I'm really good with vertigos usually. So they're finding that this might be an allergy thing for her too. And they're trying her on allergy meds. I was looking at headache stuff and they were putting me on blood pressure medicine. And it's like, so there's the other line that I think I would like to throw out is be aware that you're your own advocate too. Just don't take something because the medical field says that this is the newest thing we're trying and it doesn't work for you. You know immediately. I know immediately. I didn't even open the bottle for that, by the way. I threw it
No, you
away.
were holding the bottle talking to me and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I
You're
mean, I
right.
think we need to be our own advocate for that stuff. But it's jacking with our hormones, especially women. And a lot of women have been through their menopause and still feel like they're in menopause. A lot of people are approaching it and feel like, oh my God, is this what menopause is? And I think it's a combination. I
Mhm.
think it's ascension menopause.
Well, because when you look at menopause symptoms and ascension symptoms, they're pretty much the same. I mean,
Yep.
it's like, well, how do you know what you have? Come on. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is it?
And if you had gone through menopause 15 years ago, your doctor isn't even considering looking at anything to get your hormones balanced. And yet our hormones are really depleted during this. So we are having a lot of hot flashes, cold flashes, both flashes with Ascension because we are literally turning from that, like we say, carbon based to crystalline based. Does that mean inside that I have a burner going and I'm actually crystallizing? I don't even know. Does the doctor see that? Who the hell knows? I mean, we've never done this before as a human body.
Mhm.
So it's not something that they're going to take a blood sample and go, oh, by the way, your ascension levels at that. Maybe someday. Wouldn't that be funny?
It would be. Well, one of the
Yeah.
things going back to medicines, because I get this. I was so desperate for this ear thing, and I hate taking any kind of pain relief because I know that messes with my gut
Yep.
and, my body and liver, all the things. And so I took the antibiotic and I
Yep.
took the prednisone and it did nothing for me. And
Yep.
what it did, I just can't say it did nothing for me. It actually screwed up my gut more.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to figure out how to get my, my bio microbiome or whatever back in order in my gut.
And I have been upping a lot of probiotics, and I've been doing a lot of, oreganos with peppermints to settle the gut down, and those more natural things feel really good for me.
Mhm.
Inevitably, me being a female, I always lovely get the yeast infection on the tail end of the antibiotic because it's like then you're just getting more crap. So
Mhm.
I agree. I think it's really hard, but you get desperate. You do. We're tired. The body is tired.
Tired.
So
Yeah.
where I want to land this even further, just to make it even more of an expansion thought in your head, is that when we were in where I was in therapy this morning for the PT stuff, I was having quite the discussion with her about my mercury poisoning. And for those of you that know me, but for those maybe that are hearing you for the first time, us, I had extensive mercury poisoning in our home in 2021 for 10 months straight before we knew we were poisoned and we were deathly ill. And I mean, could have been lethal. And went through all of 2022 into 23 doing all kinds of things because it took every system of mine down. And it was an inside toxin. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I ate too much tuna. Or my feelings, this was really a big, big, big poisoning. And I'm finding out for almost 3.5 years later how detrimental this was to every system in my body. So what I asked her is, do you think that my body having been in fight or flight to the extreme for almost 2.5 years has really tipped the scales on everything and the confusion and the conversation within my body. And she's like, most definitely, because everything is counterintuitive to what it's supposed to be. If this is supposed to have stabilization, it doesn't. So this one's off because it's compensating and so on and so forth. And it's twisting and turning throughout the whole function of my body. I felt like such a loser. And I really want to say to people, I am very diligent about my energy and my body and my health. And I fell to pieces in the middle of this today and had huge tears rolling down my eyes going, I suck. I freaking suck. I'm so upset and I'm still so angry and I'm still getting the anger out. I'm almost getting to the end of that tunnel, but it's allowing ourselves to really be angry at our body and then needing to move that through so that we can love our body because we have a relationship with our bodies. And if that is not in alignment from an energetic soul standpoint, our bodies are just fighting. When I left there, I drove home knowing we were recording today, and I'm like, you know what? Just because I got mercury poisoning, it exacerbated it. But everybody on this planet, Kim, went through fight or flight for 2.5 years as well.
Yeah.
And I sat there thinking, God damn, this is such crap. Our bodies have been on exacerbated fight or flight since COVID.
Yep.
And it has not stopped. And it isn't going to stop because that's what's working from the controller program. They figured that out. That was a big, yep, we figured this out. So it's our responsibility to dial down the fight or flight because this literally crashes and burns your system from an energy life force standpoint, meaning your chakra and your meridian lines. And if we don't start to understand that this is going to affect high blood pressure, cholesterol's, heart, diabetes, why do you think everybody in the world's on Ozempics and everything else under the sun? Because our sugars are all off because of this. And I mean, we're talking it's everything, crashing your immune system, exacerbating anything you've ever had since day one. All of my asthma came back, on and on. Mood swings, emotions, wanting to kill people. So now we add in all of the bullshit that we're dealing with and all of the horribleness that is happening to people. And we think that's why we're mad, but it's all of it. And this is such a bee's hive of buzzing this and this and this, and it's all inside and it's all inside. And we're thinking everything outside is what's making us mad. So this is tough stuff. And our cognitive crash from this time period is not helping because we are not connecting to the feels. And I had a really great, awesome new client last night. Man in his probably, I don't know, early 40s, really struggling for many, many years with all kinds of difficult stuff. And his awakening process, sitting here last night, taking responsibility for his energy was amazing to watch. He's like, oh my God, I'm creating that. Oh my God, I'm creating that. And so this is really big stuff. And this is important for us to take the reins of this, myself included, and all of us, and at the same time, give yourself ease and grace.
Right.
That was
Ease
quite a
and grace is
soapbox,
really
but
hard.
quite
It's
a
really
soapbox
hard.
moment there. But I mean, it was an astounding thought on the way home. I'm like, holy shit, this is way bigger than just me dealing with Mercury. This is everybody dealing with programming.
Absolutely. And like you said, they figured it out and they are going after it even harder than they were before, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Fear, fear, fear. All the cortisol in our bodies is just crazy.
And I don't have any other really great advice other than energetic healing. And that includes literally the things that we do know. And we had a video, I think it was just last week. Why don't I do the things that I know I should be doing?
Yeah. That
You
was a
know,
few weeks ago.
I
Right.
know I should be doing this and I'm not doing it. I know I should be cutting out the sugars. So maybe watch these two videos back to back because there isn't the magic pill. Even those that are having that so-called magic experience right now, even for diabetes and weight, that's going to mess up your systems even more eventually because this isn't a normal for the body. It
Mhm.
isn't keeping you grounded. It isn't keeping you connected. It isn't keeping you soul filled. And so, meditative time, quiet time, working on the energy bodies, mostly working on the belief systems that are fueling and anchoring all of this. This is the only real truth of how to move forward in this. And that truth, by the way, can go from A to Z for you because everybody's individual.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's hard to be real truthful with yourself because
Oh,
you don't want to hear it. You don't want to write it down. You don't want to acknowledge, that, yeah, I'm not doing what I should be doing. And it should be, but I know this is important and just not fulfilling that need.
yep.
Yeah.
But I hope this message gets out that it's not easy
Hmm.
because it is such a convoluted mess.
Hmm.
I mean, the
Well, look at the
reason why the doctor,
distractions. We have
yeah,
so many distractions. Like you can wake up in the morning and if you go right to your phone or you go right to the news or you go right to the newspaper, you're like, your whole day goes sideways, I think, because you now are distracted by all of those things that are
yep.
creating the fear and the anger, angst, whatever it is that you're going through.
And slamming your own self-worth because you see somebody on Facebook that looks, perfect and your life sucks. I mean, that's what we
Yeah,
do all day long,
right.
but it's I think the crash that comes from consistent fight or flight is such a thing to sit with because it totally takes down your system. It's like you got the biggest virus on your computer and you got to go to the Geek Squad to say, I don't even have a clue of where to start. And they say, we're going to need a week because we don't know what to do either. So giving yourself the opportunity to not get frustrated if the dentist doesn't find it and have the courage to still check out the ENT is okay, but it's frustrating.
Hmm.
We
It
want everything
is.
now. I want my joints to be better because I've done it for 5 weeks. It's like, well, okay, but how many months and years and God knows what have you done to get them to that point? You've
Right.
had 4 years of absolute, hell, and you want it better in 4 weeks. So these are things that are about patience for oneself and self-love, and that's really hard.
Yeah, I revisiting the self-love is I well, I went to you for
Yeah,
energy healing on Thursday. And it came up, during that session somewhat in that again, you go motoring along and then you take that step back. It's like, I have not been talking to myself in a positive way
right.
that is, encouraging better behavior, better habits, and all of the things. And so it became very obvious to me in our conversation. It was like, yep, okay,
hmm
it's time to evaluate this again.
And again, I would like to point out healings also stir the pot. I had a client the other day that, shit hit the fan after the healing because she allowed it to come forward. So she
Mhm.
didn't feel great. And I'm like, good. That actually means you're doing the work. And she looked at me like, what? And I said, no, that's unearthing all the crap that you've had in the back of the closet,
Yeah,
pretending it isn't there. So those are hard too for people because people don't understand how true healing works either.
right.
So, yeah.
It's really important. This is such a great topic, and I think it can go in other things, like other ways, but maybe we should, do another one at some point with different things you can do.
Yeah.
And one of the places they should go is to your website, like you talked about, sworthy.com.
Mhm.
But you've got a book out, the empathing book that is really important because it gives you things to do for
Yeah.
yourself and
Literally things to do.
meditations and all of
Yeah.
those things, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and the young man that I'm talking about, the new guy last night, I was referring to it, and he walked out the door purchasing the book because he's like, I'm the kind of a body that needs to one, twos, and threes of what to do.
right,
And even this morning, he's like, so, and I love people that actually go and do their own work. I can't tell you what to do. I can give you suggestions. Obviously, I'm not in charge of you, but it's so great when they actually go, oh my goodness, this makes sense enough for me to follow through on in this regard. And I found even more myself. And I love that about clients that do their own work. I think
right.
that's so cool,
It
right?
is, but your Vibe Tribe when on your website is really great because like this month, the prayer that I wrote for that for
Yep.
April is this. It's a reevaluating, where you're at in your spiritual journey and are you doing the things that are important for you to reach goals or to progress forward?
Yep.
But your whole concept around that is balance.
Yep.
And so it's a really great place, to become a member. You do this monthly for people, and
Yep.
and it's so crazy how it fits the time that it comes out, the middle of the
Right.
month, the middle of
Right.
April. Here we are, and balance was so important for me
Yep,
to
exactly.
include
And
about.
myself included. It always makes me laugh when I write it because it's so pertinent. Yeah, and Vibe Tribe, you can also get all the information on sworthley.com as well. And I do encourage people to think about it because if we don't have something that comes to us
Mhm.
and kicks us in the rear to go, oh, yeah, oops. I mean, I have little things that come on my phone every day, affirmation things or law of attraction things that just do that old, oh, crap, I forgot I'm not doing that. And they're great reminders. And for the price, it's like 33 bucks a month. I mean, that's, less than you pay for a meditation. So it is really worth it. And it's a really great community of like-minded people besides and a support system. So we want to be with like-minded people when we're struggling through these journeys because if we're not, and we're having that, oh, just buck up, you're fine, or oh, you're not sick, or the opposite, oh my God, you're nuts and you're losing your mind, you need to go get on psychotic drugs, I mean, there's got to be a happy medium and balance there too with a community that's listening to your pain and not making the victim controller program fed.
I've met some of my best friends through your Vibe Tribe crew, so
Yeah.
it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Some good peeps. Some
Mhm.
good peeps.
Very, very
Anyway,
much
yeah,
so.
okay. I think that this was a good one. We could probably play it every 6 weeks and remind people that this ascension process,
It's
you
time to get in
know,
balance again.
yeah, I mean, this ascension process is ongoing. This is a journey. There is not an end. There is not an end, and that doesn't have to be a negative connotation. There's just not an end to the ascension. And creativity is only your limit. So, what do you want to do with yourself, right? What do you want to do? So,
Exactly. You got
cool.
it'll come around. Be patient. And in my head, I'm like, be patient. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's an answer somewhere.
I'm gonna go now and do my hip stretches and feel better about my butt. So, because man, when you're sitting on it, you're like, oh, that's not even even. I can do something about that. It's empowering, right? I mean, the great thing about self-healing is empowerment, and we don't have to ignore that human body because we're in it all day.
Yeah,
We don't have to be mad at it. We can be grateful for it, even if it's hurting.
great,
So.
great.
Cool. All
Okay,
right, my dear. Well, you go take a nap maybe, and I will catch up with you. And everyone, if you like this video, share it. Maybe hit subscribe, maybe hit the like button. It all helps us get an audience. We appreciate having more people listen to anything that can help them heal. And again, take what resonates, dump what doesn't. And until next time, from both of us, cosmic hugs.
goodbye.